Hello everyone and welcome back to another Speed Build Sunday. Today we are finally getting to the interior of this little retail strip. I'm sorry if I sound rough. I have been sick and I have pretty much lost my voice, and although I'm mostly over being sick, I am still coughing a ton and it's causing me to not be able to have much of a voice. So I'm here trying to get this done for you guys, but today we are working on the bakery, and my thought here is it is like an older vintagey style bakery. This is an older building, and they wanted to keep those older touches here in the bakery, but they did not want to keep it overly old. They wanted to update it a little bit, so you'll see some like modern touches to it or some changes in like where it could have been renovated. I decided to go with this like reddish mahogany floor because I never have a use for it, but I think it is so pretty, so I decided that this was going to be where I used it. And then I feel like this isn't the typical aesthetic I build in. I am not one to build with that vintagey older aesthetic, and so I struggled with trying to kind of pick out different details for this build. I ended up going with this pink wall with that, I don't even know what you would call it, detailing, but I think that with like the white trim and white detailing looked really nice. And then you'll see me here trying to pick out a door for this. I struggled to pick one, and while we're picking a door, this is my second time recording this. I recorded it the first time to realize my mic was ever so slightly unplugged, and so I didn't record a single bit of my audio. So we're trying again. I ended up finding this store, which was pretty much what I wanted. I just couldn't figure out where it was in the catalog because I've never used it. I was going to try to use one of the big kitchen sets from Dine Out, but they're just a little bit too big and they have to be clipped to the wall a certain way, and I just don't think it would fit the overall aesthetic of this room, this kitchen. So I decided to go with a commercial type kitchen because that's my thought. This is a commercial building and a commercial bakery, so they want to have the stainless steel stuff. I put in 2 full-size refrigerators because my thought is typically I would imagine like maybe one big fridge freezer thing, but we don't have one of those in the game, and I try not to use custom content in my actual builds, so I just went with 2 full-size fridges because when you're baking you do want to refrigerate what you're baking sometimes, like especially like cakes and cupcakes and stuff like that, to help keep them fresh, to help seal, like set any frosting or anything like that. And then next I'm just working on finding some curtains for these huge beautiful windows, and then the saga of what tables I want in this build. I want to use some round tables because I never really use the round tables. I feel like they are more that older aesthetic that I don't typically build in, so we don't really have any like more modern looking round tables. So I tried to use these ones, and then I realized there was like no chair that I liked that went with those, that weren't too old of an aesthetic of a chair. So I ended up going with these cute ones from Cottage Living that ended up being white with pink tablecloths, which is adorable and matches the aesthetic of this space perfectly because it matches those pink walls with that white trimming. So the focal point is that pink tablecloth, and then you have the white legs that kind of show off that white trimming. And then we can kind of go with these more boho chairs that aren't too old feeling but not too new feeling, kind of balances out. And I only put 2 tables in here because realistically it's not going to be considered a restaurant, so people are not going to be dining in or sitting in per se. And overall, if you play with any of the Sims packs that require like retail space or dining or anything like that, like Dine Out or Get to Work, it's a little glitchy and it's a little finicky, and the Sims don't listen whatsoever. So if you ever play with it, you know that like it'll get really crowded in there, no one's gonna actually like use them, and it's just gonna be hectic if there isn't room for Sims to move and be in that space. Then I worked on this little patio area. I don't love it as much as I love the rest of the build. I I feel like those chairs aren't the chairs that I would have wanted for out there, but we just don't have chairs like what I would have wanted. So I kind of went with those dine out tables, and I wish we just had a better chair that matched those tables, but we just don't. And then you'll see me here trying to figure out what kind of smaller equipment I want to have in the bakery, because in my eyes I seen this as having like a little coffee shop to it as well. So like they also sell like some coffee beverages, stuff like that. So this is where I put in like an espresso machine. I tried to use the one from Get to Work, but come to find out that one is supposed to be placed on a very specific item, and there's no way to place it anywhere else, even with Move Objects. So I didn't get to use the big fancy espresso machine like I wanted, so I ended up putting the smaller one and a tea station in. And then you'll see I put these stairs in to go up to the 2 apartments that are above the bakery and above the retail store, which they are small apartments. Let me tell you, they are small apartments, especially the one above the retail store. I am dreading having to furnish and fill out that whole apartment. It also bugs me that wall now no longer lines up with the break in the like paint, but there's nothing I can do there. So this is where I start kind of getting that little landing zone or landing area filled in. I may reconfigure the layout of it when I build the other apartment, but for now this is what I'm going with. And of course I'm going to use my typical Seasons railing. It's my favorite. I just realized I didn't put any railing on the stairs, but I'll fix that in the next part. The layout of this apartment is so weird, but my kind of logic to it is I kind of blame it on this is an old building, and you'll see a lot of old apartments and a lot of old buildings just have weird layouts and weirdly shaped things to try to make them work. So my inspiration's kind of some of those quirkier tiny apartments in New York that are just old, and it's like just like the way they're laid out is super weird. So you'll see the bedroom is really small, the kitchen space is really small, the living room space is going to be really small. The bathroom honestly is probably the least crammed room of the entire apartment, but you'll see I wanted to keep all 3 of those windows in the front. I wanted that to be the living room. Like I had my heart set in the living room is in the front. And then because of where the door is, you couldn't really put the bedroom in the back without the main apartment door being in the bedroom. So the bedroom doesn't get windows, and that sucks. I did go with the same wallpaper that's downstairs, just in white. And you'll see, for now I go with these white cabinets, but I do go back at the end and make them green, because I think having a little pop of color helps more. So it makes it a little less bland, I guess would be the word. So I went with these cute cabinets. I think they just kind of match that newer, like updated apartment, but not like too new, you know. It's not too new, but like renovated old apartment. So like they would have updated the cabinetry, but you know, they wanted to keep that detailing on the walls. And then I put a little dining table in. I envisioned that like a young girl lives here, whether it be the owner of the bakery or maybe the owner of the bakery is renting out the apartment above to one of the workers, and so she lives in this little apartment, and then she can work downstairs, whatnot, and maybe she has her significant other that lives here, maybe she doesn't. I kind of figured it's just like one person that lives here. It's part of why I didn't really put a TV in the bedroom. I also just don't think a TV in the bedroom would have fit this room. It's just too small. I feel like it would have just made the space feel a little too cramped. So you'll see I just kind of keep this very bare bones. I was going to go back and clutter it all up, and then I completely blanked on it and never really came back and cluttered up the table surfaces or anything like that. Like, I didn't even put a lamp on the nightstand or any real, like, overhead fixtures in the entire apartment. And it sucks, but I think, honestly, the clutter would have been a little too much in that room. There's just not much space, and I kind of packed that room full of furniture, so I feel like it's already cluttered enough. And then you'll see here, this is the living room. I put that fireplace there, again, because in my head, this is kind of one of those quirky old apartments. So it has that weird fireplace that doesn't make a lot of sense, but they really wanted to have it, so they do. And then I'm putting a little built-in in this corner. It really is the only thing that makes sense for that weird little nook. But I think it looks really cute and kind of fits the, like, aesthetic of the space and that old, like, again, that old quirky feeling, like, little apartment. and it fits perfectly like in that gap between the wall and the window where it doesn't block the window. So it's just like literally perfect. And then I go with this little light. She kind of has a little pop of pink on there. We also have that frame TV because I think in this apartment, like with the way it's set up and the way it's kind of that old, kind of vintagey apartment, a normal TV just would not fit the space very well. So I think the frame TV fits perfectly. And then we have a little matching tile. And I decided to put a laptop in the apartment because there really is not space in this apartment for a desk at all. So I decided to put like a little laptop on the table so that way maybe she's in college and she needs that to do her homework on and whatnot, and then it's easy for her to pack up, take to school with her. And then in my head, the bathroom is again one of the most updated rooms in the apartment because just the whole aesthetic of the older bathroom just isn't what they wanted. So they decided to fully update the bathroom. I kind of went with the cool season shower because I felt like the kind of glass panes were kind of cool and kind of like a older touch. But I also put these cute little like these sconces, little lights. They're called night lights in the game, but I feel like all the wall lights are way too bulky. So that to me, that's like a little perfect size light, especially for putting between the little framings on the wall. So you see me here just cluttering up the bathroom a little bit, kind of putting a little bit of stuff in there to make it feel less stale. But I do go back and move a couple of the lights around and put some artwork up in the living room and everything, and kind of make it feel a little less, like I said, stale. Like I feel like a lot of the space looks really stale. I was getting frustrated here because I didn't want to move the whole bathroom sink, but nothing would slot onto that other corner of the sink, and it only wanted to slot in the front corner. And who's putting stuff on the front corner of their sink? At least not that one. I would have put it on the one against the wall. But no, it didn't want to work like that. I thought that little sunflower painting was really cute, and you'll see here I want to put some artwork on the wall and center it on the wall there between the windows, and I couldn't do that with the light there. I also tried to kind of put the pictures between the gaps on the wall, and then it just wasn't working. But you see me change the kitchen here to green, and that is pretty much it for this build. I hope you guys all enjoyed. If you did enjoy, give this video a big like. If you have any suggestions for future builds, leave them in the comments down below. And if you'd like to see more Minecraft instant content, go ahead and subscribe. I'll see you guys all later. Bye, everyone. My bed, mine is so far. Mine is so far.